Hey everybody, Shane from Shane's Books and Review. It's time for B.V.Larson, the Alpha Fleet. Now, why do I like B.V.Larson? Why is that a guilty pleasure of mine? Honestly, I don't know. But I can tell you some things about him. He keeps up on things. So in the first book that I came across it was at a thrift shop. It was called The Swarm. Not related to this series, but there are some intermingling of things like technology and this, that, and the other. And whenever I read The Swarm, there was something that I noticed. He keeps up on things that are happening. If he didn't, he wouldn't be able to write about what he did write. The nanites and the way that the people were changed once they got this, that, and the other, and the way that everything happened. So it's a respect thing that he cares enough about what he's writing to read up on these sorts of ideas, concepts, and the latest developments in technology and in the scientific world, and then puts them to paper as a very enjoyable story. The Swarm was a weird one for me because although I've read a lot of sci-fi, this one, it wasn't so much a lot of character development. I mean, the characters develop over the series. It was just the concept of it. When the aliens show up for the first time and they start snatching people out, and then you have to fight for survival to get to the end of it. So it got me curious about his other stuff after I finished that. I'm thinking that his latest things are the Rebel Fleet and this Alpha Fleet and Omega Fleet, I think. I could be misspeaking. If I am, there will be a correction right here. Now, the Alpha Fleet opens up pretty much on the end of the last book. There's not a whole lot of kissing on the neck. There's not a whole lot of introductory type things. It just gets right into the story. And that's all well and good. Thankfully, he just gets right to it. Now, there's not a whole lot of points in the plot that I want to talk about because this isn't one of those books that is a phenomenal history-making type of a novella or a novel. But it is enjoyable if you like sci-fi. He starts bringing back some of the elements in this book that were really predominant in the Swarm series, as it were. There was a really quirky AI that was in the Swarm, Marvin, as it was. And the ship has an AI that was built. I don't know if he was going to use that as a mechanism to kind of bridge the two together, which I highly doubt, or if he was just going to poke fun on it or just give it a nod. But it turns out that it was none of those, and that it was just a corrupt thing from the get-go. And thankfully, I'm kind of glad that he didn't do that, because if he had, it would have probably cheapened Marvin a little bit, and Marvin's an awesome little dude. Now, the story continues in this one, and that they're out of war. The Rebel Fleet has been disbanded, and now the maiden voyage of the Hammerhead's pretty much over. Breaches start opening, and General Vlex shows up and says, "We are going to protect your solar system. We're going to look after everything for you. You just have to be a very submissive race and give us everything we want." And of course, we said no. It follows more of the shenanigans of Leo Blake is the main person that is followed on here. And by the way, there is a lot of overt sexism in these books. It's like the Good Old Boys scenario, or the Wild West, where it's really just in your face pretty much the whole time. But if you can overlook that, it's actually a fairly decent series. Captain Leo Blake was going to be turned into a teacher, or so he thought. The plans of the Nomads started to kick in, and a new and nefarious way of destroying planets using gravity bombs. The Rebel Fleet kind of fell into a trap there, especially Earth, being that they're the ones that drug the Nomad bombs into the Imperium's home cluster. I'm thinking that is close to Diva in the books. And because of that, of course, we're going to get hunted down and destroyed. So again, it follows those shenanigans all the way through, especially of Leo. Now Mia is in there again, his love interest, and unlike other books like Kyle, I think it was Kyle Reeves, he at least sticks to one character at a time, which is at least decent of him. One thing that I have to respect that B.V.Larson has started doing is killing off major characters. A lot of people won't do that. And he did that with one of the Imperiums. Kind of unseen whenever it happened. I wasn't really destroyed over it myself, but it was definitely unexpected. More noteworthy things about the book during the book has to do, of course, with these mysterious nomads and Godwin himself. And finally, Godwin throws a temper tantrum. But things that weren't really noteworthy was the typical, I don't know, half-mad German scientist that was included. Nothing wrong with that guy as a character, but I hate to say it, but it's almost like this book is mirroring his first series that I read. And I hope that's not the case. I hope he gets out of that. At least in this series, there has been some unique things compared to the other series that I've read. And that does have to do with the technological things that he writes, being the gravity drives and this, that, and the other. Hopefully, he'll keep it fresh. I can see the predatory race of the cat people being the way that they are, but I really find it hard to believe that one whole race would be... They almost come off like idiots. And if they're that way, there's no way that they would be able to do the math that it takes to get there. And I find it hard to believe that a race that would be able to invent starships that can open up wormholes would be as gullible as he wrote the Urshaw. Moving on along, the book ends up wrapping up in much the same place as it starts, with him back in the home solar system and what's next. I'm kind of hoping that the nomads are kind of revealed a bit more and that he develops that story arc. That was the whole reason why I got this one, was I was kind of expecting a whole lot more of the nomads, and they were. Godwin was in this book a lot, in different forms and different manipulations. And that's kind of where he's taking it, is that instead of them being this great race of people that only want to help, they have their own ideas of things that they want to do. And they're not necessarily natural people either, as it were. They're biologically created. They were biologically designed. So even though they might be of a sort of flesh and blood, they were created, and then they were shunned. Now they want revenge. Is it a book I would highly recommend for anybody else that's looking for sci-fi, space type, military adventure dramas, I guess? Not really. I think that you could skip it and your life won't be added to or subtracted from. And it's a horrible thing to say, but let's be upfront and honest about it. If I'm going to be reviewing books, I need to tell you guys if the book is decent or not. If you've got absolutely nothing to do on a Sunday afternoon for the next month, pick it up and read it an hour at a time. It's enjoyable that way. But as far as it being groundbreaking from B.V.Larson, the next big thing, no, that's not what it is at all. I hope you see something in here you like. If you did, make sure that you gently massage on that subscribe button. And if you find a good book in between now and then, make sure you let me know about it in the description down below, and I will read it along with you guys. Beyond that, now, next book up on the list, Aloysius Pendergast. Yep, there's a new one. And stay tuned. Thank you so much for watching, and again, you guys have a great day.